Hey, welcome to third grade. I'm your teacher, Mr. Ritenour. We are starting a new week of at-home learning, and I've got a couple fun things for us today. So let's just dive right in here. We're going to start with some figurative language. So I'm going to put myself in the corner, and that's where my wife says I belong anyway. So just kidding, she loves me. All right, let's start with some figurative language. All right, so pause this video and go get a piece of paper and a pencil. It doesn't matter. It could be a sticky note, whatever. Anything to write on. Go ahead and do that right now, okay? All right, so welcome back with us. Let's take some notes to start today's lesson. So today's lesson is all about figurative language. For those of you that were awake earlier in the school year and paying attention, hopefully that's some of you. Figurative language. You might remember learning about figurative language a little bit earlier, okay? So there's a big difference between figurative, an F language, and literal language with an L. So figurative language means that it's not actually happening. It's just the idea of it happening. That's what figurative means, where literal means that it is happening for real. The perfect example is I could eat a horse, okay? That's a popular expression. I could eat a horse figuratively means that you're really hungry. Literally, that's a whole different story, and I don't want to explain or go into that because that would be gross and not very realistic because horses are giant creatures. Okay, so now that we know the difference between figurative and literal, I want you to scribble out literal because we're not actually going to be using that at all today. It's not about literal, it's about figurative language. All right, so clear screen. I've got figurative language. So there are many different types of figurative language. We know a few of them already. So I could write on the screen, but I'm just going to start typing because obviously my handwriting's so beautiful. Just kidding. That's actually an exaggeration of extreme proportions, which is our first type of figurative language called a hyperbole. It's an extreme, caps locked, extreme exaggeration. Oh gosh, I knew exaggeration had two G's. Extreme exaggeration. So go ahead and write that. That's a hyperbole. Extreme exaggeration. Quick example here. All right, quick example. Wow, caps or locks are still on. I could eat a horse, okay? My backpack weighs a ton. Those are both hyperboles. All right, your backpack literally weighs a ton, really. It literally weighs 2,000 pounds. That would be a giant backpack. Figuratively, though, it could weigh a ton. All right, it could be really heavy, like our backpacks were last Thursday when we tried to take everything home. Okay, next, we've got another popular figurative language device called a simile. It's a comparison using like, in quotes, or as, in quotes. All right, it has to have those two words in it, one or the other. All right, you can either have like or as for it to be a simile. For example, she was as beautiful as a rose, all right? Literally, she's not a flower. That would be weird. But figuratively, she's gorgeous, all right? He was like a truck. Trucks are tough, right? So if you're comparing someone to a truck, you're probably saying that that person is tough, all right? He's not literally a four-wheel drive vehicle with a tailgate. That would be weird. And pretty awesome, actually. It'd be like a transformer. But those are two examples of similes, okay? Pause the video if I'm going too fast, please. Next, metaphor. A metaphor is a direct comparison, boys and girls. A direct comparison. I'm going to use the same exact simile examples, but I'm going to drop the words as and like. She was a rose. Not literally. She's not actually a flower. Figuratively, right? She's beautiful. He was, or he is, a truck. All right? He's tough, powerful, strong. Okay, let's move on. We've got hyperbole, we've got simile, we've got metaphor. Next, really popular figurative language device called personification. It's literally humanizing, not literally, figuratively, humanizing an object. Okay? For example, the sun smiled on us. What do you think the writer or the artist is meaning by the sun smiling? Yeah, sunny out. Good. Good job. How about the storm raged on through the night. All right, blah blah blah. All right, the storm can't get angry, it can't feel emotion like humans can. So the storm raged is an example of personification. All right, remember, pause it if you need to take your time. All right, no worries. We've got hyperbole, extreme exaggeration. A simile, it's a comparison using like or as. A metaphor is a direct comparison. And then we've got personification, which is giving human-like qualities to objects. All right, next, let's see if I can spell. We've got onomatopoeia. Did I spell it right? No, I did not. What did I do wrong? Oh, here we go. Thank goodness I'm on the computer. An onomatopoeia, besides being a hilarious word to say, is a sound word. All right. For example, this is straight off the old school Batman comics. Kapow! Or ... boom. Those are onomatopoeias. They kind of make our writing come to life, seem more real. All right, so we've got, let's see if I can scroll down further. If you hear Campbell in the background, he's just excited. Next, we've got an alliteration. An alliteration is the same beginning sound. Oops. Used over and over again. All right, it doesn't have to be as obvious as Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers. I mean, that one's really obvious. Sometimes it could just mean, like, sometimes it could be like, the wild wind wound its way around the tree. All right. So the wild wind wound its way. That's 4 w sounds pretty much in a row. Okay, we've got 2 more I want to talk about. Now remember, whenever I give you your quiz here in a little bit, what? Did you just say quiz? Yes, I'm going to give you a quiz. It's going to be fun. All right, and it's not graded, but you're going to be allowed to use these notes, okay? We're going to pause it. You're going to be able to look through your notes, and the only way to get good at these is to practice, all right? Practice, practice, practice until not only do you understand them, but now you're using them in your writing. You're using similes. You're using onomatopoeia, alliteration. You're using allusion, which brings us to our next one. An allusion is a reference to something that you need to know in order to get it. Ooh, I better scroll down. All right, so a reference to something that you need to know in order to get it. What do I mean by that? Great question. All that means is whenever authors or musical artists, they throw out a reference to something that's happening, usually like current events, like in politics or in pop culture, that you need to know. For instance, a few years ago, you might remember fidget spinners, all right? Remember how popular those were? Well, no one knew what a fidget spinner was until they came out. So anyone before fidget spinners wouldn't even get the reference. So that would be a terrible illusion. But after fidget spinners came out, you can think of some really good illusions, like his energy was like a fidget spinner. Sorry. His energy never ended like a fidget spinner. Now, this is an example of a simile as well because I use the word like, but it's also an allusion to something that is popular, like a fidget spinner, all right? How about this? Can't stay inside. Can't stay inside. No coronavirus will keep me down. So this is obviously an allusion to what's happening right now. If you don't know what the coronavirus is, you won't understand my reference, all right? So that's an allusion. Those are a little bit harder to understand, but you'll see some examples and it might help you out, all right? I promise it's not going to be hard. We're going to do it together, okay? So the last one is called a pun. It's just simply a play on words, okay? There are so many examples of puns. My wife and I use them all the time. We think we're funny, but we're probably not. We're probably just punny. Get it? I just made a pun about puns. Let's see. What's an example of a pun? Let's see. Oh gosh. Let me just Google search funny pun. Here's one from a muffin, it looks like. Oh, I got one. Where'd it go? What do you call, here it is. What do you call a pig that does karate? A pork chop. All right, that's a pun. It's a play on words. A pork chop, get it? Pig. Speaking of, I had pork chops for dinner last night. Okay, so I'm getting ahead of myself. A pun. That pig was tough like, oh gosh, I almost gave it a simile. That pig did karate. It was a pork chop. Okay, so I'm scrolling all the way back up here. I've got a whole list of figurative language. I'm going to try to make my list a little bit smaller, a little bit easier to see. Let's see if I can do that here. A little bit easier to see. Maybe I can make my screen a little bit smaller. That would help, Caleb. Yay, here we go. I figured it out. So we might come back to it to make some references here during our quiz, okay? So, whoops, sorry, I clicked on the wrong thing. Get your pens or pencils ready on a separate piece of paper. We are going to number that paper 1 through 10, all right? Let's number it 1 through 10. Okay? All right, so I'm still in the bottom corner. As soon as I play this video, you should be able to hear it. I'm going to turn up the volume, and I'm going to pause it, and you're going to write down what you think the literary device, that's figurative language, is in this song. All right, so whether it's a simile, personification, all right, you get it. I'll shut up now.
Artificial amateurs on it all amazing. Analytically, I assault, animate things.
All right, so you've got that same start sounds, right? Artificial amateurs, aren't it all amazing? Go back to our notes. Which one of these is the same start sound for each word? The same beginning sound, all right?
Artificial amateurs on it all amazing. Analytically, I assault, animate things.
So the answer number 1 is, that was a terrible drum roll. Number 1 is alliteration. Yay. Alliteration. It has the same start sound. Okay, back to our video.
About the way you play your game and care.
Okay, so focus on Ferrari, Xbox, Atari. These are all references to popular games, or in Ferrari's case, a car. So, which figurative language tool has a reference to something that you need to know in order to understand? And the answer to number 2 is an illusion. What CeeLo Green is saying is she's an Xbox. She's like more modern and new, and he's old school like an Atari. And if you don't know what an Xbox and Atari are, you don't quite get the message he's trying to play across. All right. So number 2 is illusion. Number 3.
Yeah. When you're alone, life can be a little rough. It makes you feel like you're 3 foot tall. When it's just you, all the times can be tough. When there's no one there to catch your fall.
All right, so you've got this line right here. It makes you feel like you're 3 feet tall. Which one of these figurative language devices uses the word like to compare things? All right, the answer to number 3 is smile. It's a simile. What does it mean? That's the $1,000,000 question. If you're feeling like you're 3 feet tall, well, for you, you might actually be 3 feet tall because you're in 3rd grade, and that's okay. But if you're an adult and it makes you feel like you're 3 feet tall, that's going to make you feel little, all right? It's going to hurt your feelings. It's not a good feeling to feel small, so that's what the artist is trying to get across. Okay, get ready for number 4.
Feeling my way through the darkness, guided by a beating heart.
Whoops. I'm just sitting here in La La Land. So, guided by a beating heart. That's the words to focus on, all right? So, which type of figurative language would have a heart guiding you. A heart can't literally guide, right? But figuratively, it can. Which do you think it is? Okay, the answer number 4 is personification. Give yourself a pat on the back if you got that right. Personification, it's humanizing something, guiding by a beating heart. Just means simply that this artist or the person who wrote the song is following their heart, right? That's all that means. Okay, number 5.
Dog goes woof, cat goes meow, bird goes tweet, and mouse goes squeak.
And what does the fox say? Just kidding. So focus in on the woof, meow, tweets, squeak. All those are examples of what? All right, number 5. The answer, onomatopoeia, and I'm not going to spell it right. I know that for a fact. Let me go back up here. Onomato, and I'm pretty sure it's E-I-A, is that right? Or is it O-E-I-A? It's O-E-I-A. Gosh, that is a tricky word to spell. It's an onomatopoeia. It's got all those sound words in it. Okie dokie. Number 6.
Bird goes tweet, and mouse goes squeak. If I could fall into the sky, do you think time would pass me by? 'Cause you know I'd walk 1,000 miles if I can just see you.
Wow, she must really love him if she's willing to walk 1,000 miles. 1,000 miles. Wow. That is a long way to go. 1,000 miles. I'm trying to think how far that would be for Mercer. Probably that might even be all the way down to the coast of Florida. Let me just do a quick, I guess I could have done Google Maps. Let me just do a map quest. Gosh, I'm showing how old I am. I just typed in map quest. Most of you don't even know what that is. Mercer. Oh gosh. This used to be so much easier. Okay. I thought I could find a map. Google Maps. Let's see. I'm just going to type in Mercer to Orlando. Let's just do the Mercer Courthouse to Orlando, Florida. Let's see if that's 1,000 miles. I want to see driving directions, silly. Yes, oh my gosh. I am a genius, not to toot my own horn. 1,025 miles, okay? That is pretty darn close to 1,000. What a good guess off the top of my head. So for Mercer, if you were to walk all the way to Orlando, Florida, that's where like Disney World is and stuff. If you were to go all the way there on foot, then you would be able to show your love like whoever sings the song. I think it's Michelle Branch. 1,000 miles. I have a feeling it is. No, it's Vanessa Carlton. Sorry, one hit wonder. Vanessa Carlton. So that is definitely an extreme distance. That should help you out with your answer. You probably already have your answer, and you're just like, shut up, Mr. R. Let's keep moving. The answer is a hyperbole. Very good. It's an extreme exaggeration. All right, on with the video. Stop doing weird searches.
Fame made me a balloon, cause my ego inflated when I flew, see, but it was confusing, cause all I wanted to do was be the Bruce Lee of loosely abused ink.
Okie dokie. So, fame made me a balloon because my ego inflated. So that's a comparison. But let's focus down here on this. Confusing because all I wanted to do is be the Bruce Lee of loose leaf. That is a reference to a pop culture figure. Bruce Lee is like this famous like kung fu guy. Movie. He did a bunch of kung fu movies. That's Bruce Lee. Hoo-yah! Everybody was kung fu fighting. That's Bruce Lee. So, anyway, what's that called whenever writers make a reference to something in pop culture that you really kind of have to understand or else you won't get it? Okay. Number 7 is an illusion. But you also could have said a metaphor. Because fame made me a balloon. Okay, let's keep moving. I am bulletproof. Nothing to lose. Fire away, fire away. Now, there is 2 answers. One we have on this list. I'm not telling you which. And the other one we learned a long time ago in poetry that we didn't even include. So, what do you think it is? I am bulletproof. Fire away, fire away. And the answer is dun, dun, dun. First, a metaphor. I am bulletproof. Not literally, it just means she's tough. But you also could have said repetition. The fire away, fire away. She's repeating herself. Alright, so that was a bonus. If you got that right, whew, you should go to 4th grade immediately. I see this life like a swinging vine. Swing my heart across the line. So, big clue right here. I see this life like a swinging vine. I'm only going to give you 5 seconds because you should know this one. And it is a simile. He's saying his life is a little bit crazy, right? Like a swinging vine, you know, it's kind of a wild risk. All right, last one. All right, like it's dynamite. So like it's dynamite. What do you think that is? Like it's dynamite? Well, hopefully you were like, oh yeah, we just did one of these. It's a simile. Whoops. Simile. Dynamite is explosive, alright? They're going to go into that party and they're going to have a great time. That's what they're saying, alright? Okie dokie. So that's your 10-question figurative language quiz. I hope you had fun. I hope you did a little sing along. Maybe your parents are looking at you right now like, what is going on in Mr. R's class? Well, figurative language, so important. We use it all the time. Sometimes we use it without knowing it. I challenge you to sometime today to use one of these, whether you're using a hyperbole or a simile or a pun, anything, okay? Anything that we talked about, I want you to use it today, all right? So I'm going to come back with a math lesson for you later today that you can do as well. It's going to involve your Go Math book. For right now, I'm signing out because I can hear Campbell screaming and I got to go help out, okay? So I love you guys, and I'll be back at you here later today, all right? So, Mr. Ritenour, here we go. Mr. R is officially out. Later.